was a hard talk to follow of Muhammad. My name is Nikolas Miltiadous. I am 32 years old. I'm a proud dad and an army officer in the Cyprus Army. In simpler terms, that means I get paid by the government to blow up stuff. And it's a sweet deal, actually. As anybody could understand, a healthy lifestyle, working out, eating well was the norm. Throughout the day, week in, week out, as a platoon leader, I commanded some troops, and we would exercise a lot. It was in the job description. But about 3 years ago, I had a very serious injury during a training course in Greece, and it rendered me unable to work out. The doctor instructed me that I could no longer work out for a long period of time, at least 6 months, and because of that, I was given a desk job. And that was a massive hit to me because I felt I was at the peak of my profession, and I really had more to offer, and I was placed behind the desk, and it bothered me. It bothered me a lot. I felt horrible about myself. So I resorted to eating a lot. And the fact that I was in charge of the supply office of my unit, meaning I had endless access to food, really didn't help. So about a year later, I was 50 kilos overweight. That's actually not me in my peak. I'm about 30 kilos less than when I was at my heaviest. Now, I'm not fat-shaming anybody, okay? You just have to understand that in a special forces unit, it was very unlikely to be overweight. It was more possible to see a living dinosaur roaming the unit than an overweight officer. Now, right where I thought I couldn't feel any more upset and horrible about myself, I get an unexpected phone call from my mom. My mom had gone for a routine checkup at the hospital after neglecting to do so for years, and she was diagnosed with kidney failure. Now, I had no idea what this meant, as probably a lot of you, but I looked into it, and I saw that it affects a lot of people. About 850 million people throughout the world suffer from kidney failure, and 80,000 of them in Cyprus alone. Now, that's a massive number for a country that has less than 1 million population. Now, what this meant for my mom? It meant she was going to die very soon, actually, because both of her kidneys were down to 14%. Now, like any other kidney patient, my mom was put on the list to get a kidney from another donor, a deceased donor, and she went through hemodialysis. Specifically, she would do the peritoneal treatment, which was in her home, in her home. What that is, it's pretty much a machine which she would connect herself to every 5 hours, and it would cleanse her blood and her liquids. Now, as one could understand, that affected my mom a lot, physically and mentally. I'll give you an example. She would have to leave work during her lunch break, speed down. She had 45 minutes. She would speed and go home, connect herself to that machine, eat a sandwich in bed, disconnect herself, and speed back up to work. One day, early of her treatment, I decided to pay my mom a visit. I actually wanted to eat dinner, but I went in her room, and I found her crying. And I asked her, "Mom, why are you crying? What's wrong?" And her answer felt like a knife going through my heart. She said, "I just got grandchildren, and I'm not ready to die." Now, like any other parent, like any other child that loves a parent, I wanted to do something. I felt I had to do something. I couldn't just stand by and let my mom slowly die, because the hemodialysis does not treat a kidney patient. It just prolongs his life expectancy for a few years, that is. And it's not a very good life. So the next day, I called Dr. Anastasiou, who is her physician and the head doctor, the head surgeon for the transplant ward in the General Hospital of Nicosia. And I discussed with him about our options. What can we do? What can I do? He said, there's really nothing you could do, jokingly, but give her one of your kidneys. And I said, okay, what can we do? What are the procedures of that? He insisted, and he said, but she's on the list. She will get a kidney, probably, from a deceased donor. I said, what are the chances of her of actually getting a kidney on time before she dies? He paused and said, slim, extremely slim. So I told the doctor, it seems that I'm just gonna have to give her one of mine. I have two and I don't need a spare. So he told me, okay, you come in and we discuss it. And I walk in and he sees this quite overweight guy. And he talks to me about the procedure and he says, we're gonna do some tests. We're gonna do blood work, urine work, MRIs, a lot of tests, but we need you to lose the weight. If you don't lose the weight, we can't perform the surgery, because the more healthier a donor's body is, the more chances we have for successful surgery. Now, not to my surprise, the one person that was against this was my mom. She felt that she shouldn't put, as she placed it, she shouldn't put her child in unnecessary danger and surgery. Of course, like any other person in this room, I stopped listening to my mom in my preteens, and I was set on my ways. I said, you don't have a say in it. You are going to get one of my kidneys, and that's that. But the weight had to go fast. Quite simple. What stood between my mom having a good life, actually any life, living, were those 50 kilos I had inexcusably gained throughout the past year. So it was time to restart my previous exercise routines. After 1 year of being entirely inactive and not working out, I went for my first run, and I managed to run less than 1 kilometer. Now, I did not manage to keep up my dinner because I vomited, but I insisted, and little by little, the intensity and distance grew. Now, although I was always into running, I never actually won anything. They allowed me to stand on the podium for that picture. I was always into running. I loved it, but I never took part in races. There are a lot of races out there, a lot. So I decided to try one. It would give me an extra motive, and I tried a 5-kilometer race, and I liked it. And I thought to myself, this is quite nice. I might try a bigger distance. So I tried after that a 21-kilometer race, a half marathon, and I enjoyed it even more. Now, the next step was a marathon, 42 kilometers, 42.2 to be exact. So I thought about trying the Athens Marathon. 1 year after my decision to give a kidney to my mom, I had managed to lose almost all my weight. As you can see, I'm quite fitter than the previous picture with my son. And I felt quite good about myself. I was standing at the starting line, happy, excited. And when I finished the Athens Marathon, this was 2 weeks before scheduled surgery, mind you, to give her a kidney, I felt even more happy and even more excited. But at the same time, I felt sad and upset because I knew that this was going to be my first and last marathon. Now, fast forwarding to 29th of November of last year, I woke up in a hospital bed, minus 1 kidney. The good news was the surgery was successful, and my mom was doing great. Now, I was in a lot of pain, though, a lot of pain. Surgery is painful. A couple of days later, Dr. Mikhail, who is the second surgeon who performed the operation, he walked in my hospital room to check up on me. Dr. Mikhail, a marathon runner himself, told me that I should heal well and fast, and perhaps one day I might catch up on him during a marathon. Now, I was confused. But I only have one kidney, I tell him. How can I possibly do this? How can I possibly run races? I thought about it, and he saw me, and he says, "What's wrong?" I said, "But I have one kidney." He looked at me blankly. He said, I know, you idiot. I removed your second kidney. But what does that have to do with anything? And I shared my thoughts. I said, but I was with the idea that a kidney donor cannot possibly participate in such events, like racing long distances. He sighed, of course, and I saw that he felt upset immediately because I had given a kidney and I had this misconception. He said that a lot of people believe that. And unfortunately, most people are misinformed about the matter, and it surely affects one's decision to become a donor. Now, that's when it struck me. I thought to myself, what better way than to show the world that a kidney donor could live a normal and healthy lifestyle and it doesn't affect them? No way. So I decided that I would start running again and I would participate in races and show this to the world. Now, the first race I decided to take part was a 12-kilometer cross-country race, which means it's a race where you run up on the mountains. It's beautiful, but very tiring. Now, it's not a very big distance, but mind you, I was fresh from surgery, and I was in a lot of pain, and I had to push through. Now, with the help of my very insisting partner, who is a runner herself, I started training again, slowly by slowly. And I started, once again, building up more kilometers. And upon completing my first post-surgery race, the Mitsero race, the 12-kilometer race I mentioned, the announcer, quite amazed, announced to everybody that I was running with one kidney, and I had done surgery 2 months prior to that race. The amount of people that came to me after the race and wanted to talk to me and asked so many questions about the matter because they were misinformed was amazing. And it just proved what the doctor had told me, that a lot of people are misinformed. Shortly after that, I contacted the Cyprus Transplant Association, and I talked to Mr. Yanos Niarchou, who is the secretary. And I told him about my concerns, and he told me that I was right. We need awareness. We lack awareness in Cyprus. A lot of people don't know about what it entails to become a kidney donor. And they're with a false misconception that once you give a kidney, that's it. You can no longer live a normal, healthy life. So, with the help of my brother, who's a journalist, he's a sports journalist, he's not a real journalist. Just have to put that out there. I promised I'd do that to him. And with the help of the Cyprus Transplant Association, and with the use of social media, it helps a lot. I started my efforts to prove this. I made this banner. Well, I didn't make the banner, a professional made the banner. On this banner, I put the motto of the Cyprus Transplant Association, #GiveLife, and it has their emblem. And I would write with a marker every race I completed after the surgery throughout the race. And I'd add on to the banner. This shows every race after the surgery that I've run minus one kidney. So it's possible. Anybody could do it. This banner, of course, has followed me to Copenhagen. It has followed me to the Atsas mountain race, to Trodos. It has followed me abroad and in Cyprus, pretty much everywhere, in a lot of races. And I proudly showed it and proudly answered a lot of questions from a lot of people who were present, explaining this. Now, I thought to myself, what would be the high point of this year? What can I do to show that truly a kidney donor lives a healthy, normal lifestyle? So I decided to return to my first marathon, which, by the way, was 2 weeks ago today in Athens. But I felt that that wasn't enough. I had to do more. I had to stick out like a sore thumb, because the more I did, the more people would know and would ask questions, and it would gain awareness. So I decided to take part in the race wearing my full combat gear, combat boots, pants, and a bulletproof vest, which weighed roughly about 25 kilos extra. It's not very smart to do that for 42 kilometers. But with an extra 25 kilos, but 1 kidney less, I started the race and I finished the race. The same race which made me love running. 1 year after giving a kidney. I felt I got another minute. You gotta bear with me. I feel that this proves beyond point what we wanted to show the world. That anybody with 1 kidney has the same lifestyle, and his way of life remains the same. Now, my efforts will continue throughout, I hope, forever, but especially during 2020, the highlight of which will be my first ultramarathon. And we're going to try to run an 80-kilometer race in Zagori next summer. Now, I know, and I hope I will always have this energy and the strength to continue running with every bit of my soul and body for this cause. A now very healthy, happy, energetic mother gives me this strength. And with that, I want people to know that donating a kidney doesn't change someone's life, but it gives life to someone else. Thank you.
Great job, man. Hold on, you're not going down, you're coming back with me. You know why? We're gonna start right now training for the next marathon, right here. You have a set of exercises?
I actually have
You do?
in the back, yeah.
Are you ready? No, we're kidding. All right. No, but I really wanted to ask you, is your mom here today? Is she watching?
Of course she is.
Where is she?
She's that beautiful lady out in the front.
Can we please ask, what's her name?
Marlette.
Miss Marlette, would you please join us on stage?
Love you, baby.
As I understand, yesterday, the 29th of November.
It's my 1-year anniversary, yes.
Actually, I have this for you.
Thank you.
That was a surprise. So it was 1 year after the surgery.
1 year.
And I would like you to, if you had one thing to share with all of us today, what would that be? One thing.
If anyone wants to make a difference, give life. Whether you give it now as a donor or after you're deceased. God has given us the ability to do this for other people. And you will make a difference in not just one person's life, but everyone they know and their whole families and friends and all the people around them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
You can take this. Thank you.